Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide.
Hi, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
We especially want to say hi to some listeners in some places like we've been doing the past couple of episodes. Go ahead, Alison.
Hello to everyone in Portugal, particularly those in Lisbon. And also shout out to our New Jersey peeps.
That's us.
Yep. In particular, Linden, New Jersey.
Hi, Linden, New Jersey.
Yay.
Drive through there sometimes. Thanks, Linden. And Lisbon, we hope we're saying that correctly.
We hope so too. We had this discussion before.
Yeah.
That we think we are, but we're not sure.
Listen, if you're somewhere and we ever mispronounce where you are, you realize it's you, but we haven't said it correctly, please let us know. Send us some phonetics or something.
And we will correct it.
We will.
And so you get shouted out again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Today's episode is titled, What is Cooking with Kids? And you might think, what's cooking with the kids? What's going on with the kids? No, that's not what we're talking about.
Not what we're talking about.
We're talking about literally what is cooking with children. It continually surprises me, I think, how those of us who grew up with easy bake ovens are like reluctant to cook with young children. But cooking doesn't need to be in any kind of oven.
Correct.
And I know what you're thinking right now. I know you're thinking allergies, because I'd be thinking the same thing. So we're going to talk about all of this during the episode. What is cooking with young children and what can it be? Mm-hmm. We're also going to talk about those allergies and maybe things we can do, because cooking is such an important experience for young children. More and more in our early childhood settings, thankfully, by the way, crafts are becoming far less of an activity, and it's disappearing in some programs because in higher quality curriculums, there are not endless crafts. Right. Crafts do not prove that a child has learned something. We have to stop giving them out like proof of learning, and we have to spend our time actually working with hands-on real life experiences with young children so that they get that sensory experience that young children need in order to understand topics. Right. And this has become far more widely known over the course of my career. So now there are even curriculums you can purchase out there, and none of them say do a craft. Yeah. None of the really high quality ones or more popular ones say do a craft. So there's far less craft. And very often adults worry, like, if they're not doing crafts, how are they learning to follow directions? Folks, it's cooking.
There it is.
It is cooking, because that's actually an authentic, if we're going to talk about authentic and hands-on experiences, that's an authentic way that human beings follow directions. Think about how you follow directions. You are either following a recipe to make something to eat, or you are following a recipe to put some IKEA furniture together.
Correct.
So in some way, you are following here's the ingredients or parts, right?
And here's how you put it together.
And that's adults, practicing following instructions. Children should be doing it the same way. The cooking area is also the hub, one of the hubs, not the only one, but one of the hubs of math learning, because they're going to be measuring, comparing, contrasting.
Yes.
It also provides them with a lot of fine and gross motor development as they pour things, mix things, put things.
A lot of science.
A lot
of science goes into there. How things mix together, how things mix in, like water versus oil is a big thing too. Like there's a lot of science that goes into cooking.
Which is why the National Association for the Education of Young Children, or NAEYC, recommends cooking experiences with young children consistently, not just once a month, once every other week, consistent cooking experiences with young children to support the skills that they're learning. And we're talking about real cooking, by the way, not dramatic play cooking. We're talking about real cooking.
Ingredients that these guys can get their hands on and mix together.
Which is taking parts and making a whole. Right? Yes. Taking parts, following instructions to make a whole. So it isn't always something we want them to necessarily eat, because like making Play-Doh is considered cooking.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's where people are getting hung up a little bit.
Well, you know, here's a question I got about that, which
Yeah.
I thought was a very interesting question. If we're saying, and it's true, and you've heard us say this before, in early childhood education, we should not be using, and we're not allowed really, according to the environmental scales, to use food for sensory or art.
Yes.
Then what's the difference between that and making Play-Doh? The difference between that and making Play-Doh is the macaroni you used to make the macaroni necklace could be cooked and eaten.
Yeah.
The rice
that's in the sensory table could be cooked and eaten, and you're using it as just play things instead.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Play-Doh recipe is not,
you're not going to eat
you're
that.
not going to, like, it's made, isn't it made with flour? I have
It's
to remember
like
now.
flour, oil, water, I think.
So if you take flour, oil, water, that does not come together to make a food you could eat.
Correct.
I think that's the technical difference.
Yeah.
You are then just taking parts to make a whole.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's the technical difference. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, let me know.
Yes.
But I think that's why they will allow you to make Play-Doh, but not the other activities that use food. Because flour in and of itself is not edible.
Correct. You can't eat.
Oil in and of itself, not edible, unless you're like dipping bread in it. Right?
Yes.
So at any rate, it has to do with I'm going to make up a word, everybody. Ready? I heard people who are, am I right brained? I forget if it's right or left, but make up words. I do it all the time. So it's not edible. It's not eatable. It's not, you can't eat that, but if you put it together.
Yes, but all of those are words.
Okay.
Never
mind. Anyway, I was going to make up a word and then it wasn't.
Problem with using the rice in the sensory table, for instance, is there are some families that might not be able to afford.
We should be donating the rice.
So we should be donating that rice so that they could eat it. And here you are having that child who.
Well, you can also donate flour, but there is a difference. There is a difference.
Like if I had a recipe like making Play-Doh or whatever I was making and I had leftovers, I donate it.
Okay. But I just think it's in and of itself, the flour, the oil, that's not something I could pick up and put in my mouth or cook to eat. So, but we do want to do the cooking with children who I know may have allergies. I'm going to go back to that. Let's go back. Let's tackle the allergy question. I know that that's a big obstacle. I agree with you that that's a big obstacle. So I think we have to think about, how do I overcome the obstacle? How do I overcome that? Can I ask families to bring in alternate ingredients?
Yes. And I have that I think is the key. You need to have communication with all of your parents. If you have that communication, then I had a girl in my class who had celiac disease. So if I knew I was going to cook next week, I told her parents, hey, I put something in her folder for you to review. It would list every single ingredient on there and how it was going to be prepared. They would come back and be like, this is fine. But if it wasn't fine, they would circle what was not fine. And they would donate a lot of times the alternate ingredient. And I would either just do that with all of the children so that she didn't feel left out, or I would make something separate for her. Or in some cases, her parents would bring in things that were already prepared so that she could participate in as much as she could participate in. And then when it came out from the oven, oh, here's yours. Oh, it looks just like everybody. So she wouldn't know any different. But there's ways to do that. There's ways to get around the allergies if you're willing to put in that extra work.
Well, I think it's also, though, there are some families who can't donate.
True. In this case,
some families cannot donate. So,
why not instead, like if I, in this case, sent those ingredients home, they said, hey, she can't have this particular flour. Tell me what flour she needs, and I will get that flour instead of
in place of the other flour.
Because it's not going to harm the other children, to use that flour.
So we're not saying go and spend extra money.
Correct.
We're saying when you are buying ingredients, take these things into consideration. Right. There are some allergies where you absolutely have to avoid the food, like peanut, for example. Yeah. I'm allergic to, I can't eat strawberries. So like there are some recipes that I would not do in a room if I knew, especially there were airborne or allergies where it can contaminate. But you're right. Maybe we need to fall to that common denominator of the food that is good for the children with these dietary restrictions is not going to harm the children who don't have the dietary restriction.
Yeah.
So as early childhood programs, we need to think about what are the foods that are most safe for the most children.
Yes.
Instead of we're going to buy the same thing we've always bought.
Right.
And then children who have dietary restrictions, their family's going to have to do something different. Maybe you're right. Maybe we just go, okay, we're going to buy gluten-free,
just buy gluten
whatever. If you have gluten sensitive children.
Because I think then, because what's the alternative? Like the child just doesn't get to participate then, and that's not fair.
The alternative in a lot of programs is they don't do these cooking experiences.
Yeah.
And I understand the fear. I understand nobody wants to have to EpiPen a child. Nobody wants to have to call 911. I mean, I get it. I think you're right, though, if we work, even as the administrators, if the administrators work closely with the families and what they know about allergies and say, listen, these are the sorts of experiences that we want to offer children in our program, and we want to do it in a way that's safe for everybody. So if we needed to buy flour, if we needed to buy, I don't know, if we needed to buy crackers, if we needed to buy something else, like what do you advise we buy before you purchase things?
Yes.
And buy it so that all the children can have it. Right. There are some children who are just so highly allergic to everything, and it might even help them too. It might. Yeah. So maybe what we're saying then is we have to think about how are we making these purchases from the jump?
Yes.
Right? Yes. How are the administrators purchasing? If you are an administrator, I hope you'll think about it. And if you're not, please share this episode with them to give them some food for thought about their purchases related to the cooking. Yeah. Because to just say we're not going to do it takes all that skill building and learning out of the equation. And it's an important skill to take parts, follow directions, and put them together in this way, in a way that creates something brand new.
Right.
When we cook with children, we're creating something brand new, which also teaches them a lot of cause and effect, predictability of matter, of items and objects and how they're going to react. It's really important. And another obstacle that I know stands in the way of cooking in some programs is that you don't have a kitchen or you don't have the ability. One recommendation that I read was to get easy bake ovens for the classrooms, which is, great if you can, but not everyone can. So we went to the internet. We consulted our internet browser. And what I Googled, unless I'm wrong, Allison, I Googled preschool.
I think it was preschool, no bake,
no
recipes.
Cooking, no kitchen recipes. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what immediately came up was a site that we thought was so good.
So good.
It's called Busy Little Chefs.
And I like it because look underneath there. It says cook, learn, enjoy. And that's what we should be doing with these children.
We should cook, learn, enjoy.
Cook, learn, and enjoy. Yes.
And the page we're on their website says 55 easy no-bake recipes for kids. By the time this episode comes out, and it's by a mom put this out, I believe.
Yeah.
By the time this episode comes out, I'm going to try and link it.
Oh yeah, perfect.
To our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. They have really cool no-bake recipes on here, child-friendly, things like easy apple snacks, ice cube tray, cheesecake bites recipe, no cooking. Yeah. Frozen banana bites. It's like healthy stuff.
It's all healthy food too.
How do you pronounce this?
Acai?
Acai. You see, my kids would make fun of me because I don't come from this generation.
Not the recipe for you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that either.
So now they're all going to write to us and be like, Cindy, what's wrong with you? It's one of those bowls.
We don't eat healthy food.
It's one of those bowls. It's a smoothie bowl.
It looks delicious. I don't know what's in it, but it looks
delicious. It looks great.
Banana split pudding cups.
Star spangled strawberries if you don't have allergies in the room. If not, you can substitute another food. Substitute foods.
Yeah.
Cream cheese snacks. Just this isn't the only website, by the way, that has this sort of thing. There were a lot of them. It was just one that we came across right away and went, look at how awesome this is. And it's not only no bake, but they also look pretty quick to me.
They look quick.
Yeah.
Which is ideal too in the classroom.
Yeah. Hands-on, real quick.
Yeah.
And they look good. So children might eat it.
It's not like unhealthy food.
I'll try to remember to link that site.
Yeah.
Okay. So please do go take a look and see what you can find that can be done. It's one of those things where we as a profession could sit and talk about what can't be done, or we can, as a profession, can talk about how can we get this done.
Do it. Yeah.
Because it is very, very valuable. You know, what if the children grow up and want to put together furniture? I keep going back to that.
Maybe that's why a lot of people don't.
When you're working, maybe when you're working on cooking with children, you want to give them the recipe. So it should have pictures and words, but it's pictures of the ingredients, pictures of each step of what they're going to do, so that before they are able to read, they can follow the pictures and do it as independently as possible with your guidance, you know. And this is a teacher directed activity that I think is really worthy.
Yeah.
When I was a classroom teacher many, many, many years ago now, it's a long time ago now, when I was a classroom teacher, we did cooking, but it was the children watching me cook. It was the strangest when I think of it now. It was so strange. It was like, I'm going to put the ingredients in the bowl. I might let you touch the spoon and mix it for a second, but I'm doing the measuring. I'm doing the pouring. I'm doing everything. When now we know it, children need to be able to do this, and they can. They can do it from amazingly young ages. Even before they're able to cook with you, I highly encourage you from the time they're infants to talk about what they're eating. We want to start to make them aware of the colors, the textures, the tastes, the smells of food, because then that will interest them in trying new foods and doing cooking experiences. Okay, folks, check our website, because we're going to have that link on there for you as a starting point. And if you find other really great links, I'm going to ask you to send them to me, and I'll put them on the website. And I might even use your name, if you let us, to say thanks for finding this. Again, you can send those links to us at howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, or by messaging us on our Facebook page, How Preschool Teachers Do It. Okay, folks, go find some recipes.
Go
cook with kids, and we will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye, peeps.